Well, hi, I'm Therese. We're back again with Good Friends, and our guest is Gloria Esenwein. She is, among other things, a dancer. Would you please welcome her, Gloria Esenwein? I never knew you before, but I guess you saw me from afar somewhere.
Saw you years ago.
Zillion years ago.
Many years ago, probably when I first came to Cincinnati, and went out to see you sing. Enjoyed it very much.
Thank you. I have a real hard time with that sometimes because I'm trying to, live in the present and do stuff like that. Excuse me. You went to IU, so you knew a few people there, but mainly you weren't studying dance there. You were doing other things. And
right. I came to Cincinnati about 15 years ago and didn't really start dancing again. I took a lot of classes when I was a kid in a studio from a woman named Helene Charisse, who was a relative of Sid Charisse, if you're familiar with her. And she was the sister of the man who was married to Sid Charisse, and my dance teacher always claimed that the reason Sid Charisse was so good was because she was married to my dance teacher's brother, who taught her everything she knew.
Do you really believe that?
Yes. Plus, Mitzi Gaynor took from her also. So there.
Far out.
But anyway,
that's great.
I had a lot of a very eclectic dance background, which doesn't go real far sometimes in the current dance. It's not a real traditional. I don't have a traditional ballet and modern background, but I have sort of acquired that over the years. So at this point, people refer to me sometimes as a modern dancer, even though I have a real kind of different background.
Well, do you think of yourself as a dancer? I mean, you said you'd think of yourself as a lot of stuff.
It's taken me a long time to start calling myself a dancer, actually, but I do call myself a dancer, among other things.
Does
that answer your question?
Pretty good.
I also teach dance, and I also choreograph, so... but I guess dancer, the word dancer anymore, I'm trying to look at it as that it incorporates a lot of things besides the literalness of dancing, that it can incorporate a lot of things.
You're working with older people, and I was real amazed when you talked about, working with older people, and it's like the older people that I knew growing up would never move. I mean, they would never have any idea about it, and you're talking about older people that you can't get to sit still.
I work with a pretty interesting group of people through the Recreation Commission, and I have a part-time job teaching dance. A lot of times these folks call it exercise just because that's what the class was called maybe before I came in, but I've sort of elaborated on that, and we do chair exercises to get everybody warmed up, but then we finally get up and we do things like freezes, and we build a phrase, an 8-count phrase, and we'll do connect and hook up with each other, and things I call statues. And we actually learn some, I choreograph a few things that they actually know some, pieces now. We have a couple pieces, and we're going to actually take a group of them to a thing in May called Senior Expo.
Senior Expo.
And there's also an event coming up that I'm enthused about in March. It's called Bias Awareness Workshop that the Center for Peace Education is putting on, and we've been invited to come and do it's really a workshop about stereotypes and racism, about racism and just how people acquire their biases about whatever, ageism, whatever.
It seems like you can't hardly deal with old people anymore and not run into dealing with a whole lot of other stuff.
Yeah,
like racism,
I'd say so.
Worrying about, nuclear stuff.
Economics. Most of the people I work with are, at a pretty low end of the economic scale.
Aren't you in Walnut Hills, didn't you say?
Right, Walnut Hills and Avondale. Both.
And you're employed by the Cincinnati Recreation Commission?
Right.
And is it specifically to do programs with old people?
Yeah, I'm actually on a grant through the Council on Aging through the Recreation, and I'm in the senior division, and my position is called Recreation Specialist, and I'm doing a dance program with 5 different centers that I go to that have recreation programming within the subsidized apartment building. So these folks are independent livers. They have their own apartments, and it's not a nursing home setting, although I do have a potential job coming up pretty soon in a nursing home.
That's great. That's great. When I was a kid, when I was 12 years old, playing the accordion and singing for people, we would go to all these nursing home things, and oh, how wonderful, and they would like, oh, wonderful, sing, and then they would name, old stuff, and of course I knew it all, but they would never have moved. They would never have done any expression kind of personal stuff, I think.
I have thought some about the whole issue of economics too. I think that I haven't exactly borne this out yet, but I work with people that are, like I said, pretty poor, and they seem to have a lot less to lose, I think, when it comes down to just about anything, and that I don't want to sentimentalize or anything, but it just seems like they have less to lose about the whole issue, so it doesn't seem to be as big a deal to ask them to do a movement as it would be to maybe somebody who's from another economic bracket. That's just an opinion I've been acquiring.
No, it's reasonable. You're doing The Knot Garden, which is an opera at CCM. You're doing choreography.
Yeah.
Starts February 8th?
Right, it opens February 8th. It's an opera, British contemporary opera at CCM. This is really the first anything like this I've ever choreographed.
And you're doing the Feast of Feet, April 13th at the Dance Hall.
Right, in Corryville.
That'll
be that'll be an evening of works by 4 different choreographers and performance by all of us.
And you're going to be performing?
Yeah.
You don't do the opera, but you do the choreography.
No, I won't be in the opera, but I'm going to be in this piece. And I'm going to try to incorporate some of my older people into a couple of the pieces that I'll be doing in that concert.
That's really good. I hope sometime you would bring some of your older people here.
Really
that
great.
Would be really nice.
I'd like to do that.
Thank you very much for coming. We're going to see you perform in a few minutes. This piece is a Carla Bonoff piece?
Right. This is a song Carla Bonoff wrote, and it was actually a piece within a larger dance of 3 sections. But I'm just going to be doing the 3rd section as a solo here, and it's it's a cappella singing. I sing.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm very glad to have met you.
Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Okay.